So, at long last, we have reached that historic moment in your life. The first rocket to leave Novice. Built with your own sweat, blood, and tears. But before then, we have just a few things to take care of. That starts by finishing the last of our perimeter. A very time-consuming process indeed. As we secure our borders, let's just talk a little bit about what you've achieved thus far. By your own hands, you mined the very minerals of an alien planet, harvesting precious iron, copper, and stone, with fires you started with the raw materials found around you. You then engineered the solution needed to create machines that would make more materials you needed to make more machines, to eventually make the pieces necessary for you to secure your survival on this planet and beyond. You pulled water found nearby and boiled that into steam to form your very first electricity. With that, you expanded your operation, no longer a survivor, but a conqueror. Plates became intermediates, wires, gears, pipes, and further refinement produced steel, engines, more complex circuits, and even little robot helpers, your first companions since crash landing. You constructed vehicles for exploration, tanks and guns for security, manufactured bullets and cannon shells, even harnessed the power of the local star to supplement your growing power. And through all the trials and roadblocks that may have come, here you stand, at the very edge of completing the first step of many more. With this knowledge, you are now fully equipped to engineer another planet to submission. But first, you must finish what you started. We will elaborate more on how we sustain our defense, by first looking at how we utilize the trains. Here is a more pointed detailing of the train functions and why we chose this method. So, this is a basic train stop. The principle of this is extremely simple, but we're going to go through it beginning to end. Everywhere that you see on this map, at each point, is all supplied by the exact same system, and is supplied by 2 trains only. This is the bare minimum that you need to make this work. So, how does it work? As you can see, I have 1 train already here that is providing some magazines. Down here at the bottom, a storage tank. 2 of these at 25,000 per tank equals 50,000 storage. That is the equivalent of 1 train wagon. Because of this, I use that as my metric for when I need to request 1 train wagon. The boxes are a little bit different. There's a little bit of overhang over here, but it's well worth it for what I do for my purposes here. We take wires, and we simply hook up to both of these decider combinators. We haven't talked a whole lot about decider combinators in great detail, but essentially we can use decider combinators to set conditions and make a decision. In this case, when we look at our decider combinator, we are simply saying if we get below 1,000 light oil, we are then going to set a signal of L with an output of 1. That's it. That goes on a red wire. And the red magazines, I have it set to below 2,000 red magazines in storage. We'll also set a signal of L to a value of 1. This is where things sometimes trip up people. Each of these are outputting the same value, but if you hover over them, you'll notice that all of the green wires, no matter where you're hovering, are connected on this side. See them light up? But if I look at this side and I hover over a combinator, only one red wire is active at a time, because each of these only makes a decision for one station. So in the case of our red magazine, this is going to the front station, which we can see is set as red ammo request. Notice that 10. The number of stops with this name is very important. Over here on the right, because we have it connected to a circuit network, we have it set to set train limit with a value of L. This is something that will determine the value of the limit over here. Notice that this is grayed out and I can't interact with it. Over here, our flamethrower request does the exact same thing, but is just a different name for a different type of train. Because of this, all across our network, only stops that require material will request. Case in point, if we look over here at our flamethrower supply, you'll see that it has the task to go to a request station and empty itself. But it can't because there's nowhere that's open, as we can see here by the little triple Z inside of the triangle. This principle is the most basic principle of how to use trains to supply your logistic network. With this principle alone, you can do a lot with your trains, and you can sustain a network of this size and even greater with very little effort. And now, armed with that knowledge, though basic still, we have working trains that will perform the tasks that we need, and no longer need concern ourselves with the natives of this savage land. And so, we are left with one last thing: the rocket launch itself. To accomplish this, we require a rocket silo, a massive and expensive structure where we will launch our precious rocket once completed. For vanilla, we can simply do what I demonstrate here. Gather all of the materials and create the silo by hand, as we only truly need one to accomplish our task. Once we have gathered all of these precious materials and condensed them into one, we have only to place our rocket and create the parts needed. Here in vanilla, our rocket parts will cost us 10 blue chips, 10 low-density structure, and 10 rocket fuel per part. That can be time-consuming and very expensive, but well worth the effort. We also need to put down a cargo landing pad next to the silo, which will be important later. And once these two things are done, there is only one thing left: a satellite. We will launch a satellite into the stars in order to achieve spaceflight before we ourselves even think of entering into such a structure. And now, with this satellite, we will truly go beyond where we have gone before. Solar panels, batteries, blue chips, and more. With all of these arduous tasks being put together to create the final piece of the puzzle, we have but to launch it. Brace yourselves, fellow engineers. Your first rocket launch is one to remember and cherish always. Congratulations. You have completed the game. A warm thank you from the Factorio team is presented to you, as well as the icon of the classic rocket propelling itself to the stars. And to the right of that, it seems that it is not the end. Oh no. You are encouraged to stay, to expand, improve, optimize, grow. The factory must grow. It was always the factory that mattered. But for you and I, my dear engineer, this is where I part with you. You may continue your journey here in this land. Make this factory truly your own. Unless, of course, you wish to follow me. Because do you remember how that rocket wouldn't take us before? It will now. But be warned, if you join me and leave this place, you will leave all innocence behind. You will see sights that you couldn't possibly imagine. You will witness and possess technology that no engineer should ever come in contact with. You will see things that will truly test the limits of your critical thinking and your problem-solving ability, and you will be changed forever. For the moment that you join me, you will have entered the space age, and a beginner none will call you anymore. No matter your choice, my friend, know that you have done what many have failed. You have launched a rocket in Factorio. You have achieved spaceflight. You are prepared. You have the tools to succeed. The factory must grow, and you must be the one to cultivate it. And with that, thank you again for watching, and good luck no matter what you choose to do.